Welcome back to another NBA film breakdown on the TWSN YouTube channel. I'm Will Locklin, and I'll be breaking down how James Harden and Joel Embiid have been playing with each other so far, specifically in pick and roll situations, because it's been absolutely deadly, and it just makes this offense that much more dangerous. So let's get into it. One thing you're going to see a lot of from the Sixers is just a lot of dribble handoffs with Harden and Embiid. Here you're going to see Harris fake a pin down, and then Harden stops and puts Patrick Beverley on his back. Great job of creating space there. And Karl-Anthony Towns, he has to drop onto Embiid, so it's going to result in an easy floater for Harden. In these first couple games of the Harden and Embiid era for Philly, a staple of their offense has really been these kind of makeshift pin downs. Here you're going to see one from Thibault, and it results into another dribble handoff with Embiid and Harden in the middle of the floor. Embiid's going to roll, and Harden just attracts so much help on this drive. I mean, look at how much floor spacing the Sixers have, the abundance of options passing-wise Harden has, and then look at that pass. That is a sick dime from Harden. I mean, he could have made a lot of easier passes, but he instead adjusts to make the feed into Embiid for the finish. Now on this play, we're really going to have a true action that we can label, which is called Chicago, and basically it's just a pin down into a dribble handoff. It's pretty simple, kind of the same stuff we've been talking about. And the down screener in this case is going to pop out for three, which is Thibault. And it's going to create a runway, again, in the middle of the floor for James Harden. Thibault is wide open. You have great floor spacing from Philly. You have room for a floater from James Harden, or you have a lob pass to Embiid. And they opt to go with the lob pass because Harden just draws so much help, and Embiid's able to back him down and finish. Here we have some more Chicago action. Thibault with an excellent screen, and it's really going to cause some chaos for the Knicks defense because Fournier is going to have to switch out because R.J. Barrett just gets so stuck on the screen he isn't able to break away. Embiid's size also creates just a lot of congestion in the lane. You see Mitchell Robinson kind of get stuck in no man's land. And another thing I love here is Harden, how he just meshes his lob pass with his floater shooting motion. It's just so seamless and perfect. And, I mean, you don't know if it's a floater or if it's a lob. The Timberwolves defense really starts out in complete disarray here. Embiid is just going to cut into the center of the floor, and Harden with a great entry pass inside. And look at the space that Embiid has and that he's giving his teammates. I mean, there's just going to be so many guys crowded around Embiid. You have three guys around him, just so many options from this two-man game with Harden and Embiid. Here's something that's going to be so simple for the Sixers to do with Joel Embiid and James Harden, but so effective. I mean, you have a high ball screen, Embiid in his natural element popping out for three. And again, Embiid sees the drop the Cat's playing and the space, so he just floats out for a three, and this is going to be a staple of their offense. And even when teams really try and take away this pick and pop threat, you're going to see in these next few clips how the Sixers adjust to that. Later in the game, a couple possessions into the fourth quarter, the Wolves, they're going to counter their coverage, drop on the last one. This time they're going to hedge out with Karl-Anthony Towns up to the level of the screen. So Embiid is going to roll, but he's really just going to be a short roll, and then he kind of floats out for a jumper, and perfect delivery on the pass from Harden. And this really counters the hedge so well because it catches them off balance and uses Harden's passing with Joel Embiid's scoring. Now we're going to see Minnesota trap Harden off this high ball screen, and really Minnesota, they have to trap Embiid here because before he catches, they have to deny the ball. They don't do that at all. They allow a steal and a finish. So based on these last few clips, we've really seen how Harden and Embiid have been able to pick apart drop coverage, hedges, or even traps. Shifting over to a different kind of play now, this is an empty side pick and roll, which basically means all three guys have to go to the weak side and clear out for the two-man game to operate. So there's no man in the corner on the side that the ball is on. There's space to operate for Harden and Embiid. Harden delivers a great pocket pass here to Embiid, and Robinson just can't recover off his drop in time. On this play, we're going to see a lot of synergy from the Sixers and their offense, just from not only Embiid and Harden, but also from a guy like Matisse Thybulle. Initially, Harden, he calls for Embiid to screen. Thybulle is going to make this baseline cut, which kind of makes it an empty side pick and roll. It wasn't originally, but because he cuts, it's essentially an empty side pick and roll, which is great because you see an early slip from Joel Embiid. Harden then, of course, is going to drive into the center of the court. And this, again, is going to create so many quality shots for the Sixers offense, and ultimately what Harden decides is the best option is to pass it in for the lob up to Thibault, and a great cut from Thibault as well. Really love this play from the Sixers, especially the Wolves. They decide to be really aggressive here on the screen. It's a really hard hedge, and Harden is just going to rifle over a pass to Harris, but he has great reasoning for doing this, because once you see Joel Embiid slip, Anthony Edwards, who's guarding Green in the corner, he has to decide, do I want to rotate up to Embiid to meet him at the point, or do I close out to the corner? And he's going to take us a couple steps towards Embiid, which causes Harris to then swing it to Danny Green for the corner three, and that's all based off of Joel Embiid's gravity as a roll man. The final play is going to be a high screen and roll. The Knicks go at the level this time, and Randall is going to kind of drop back down. Harden makes a really nice feed into Joel, who kind of stops, maybe to pull into, his patented mid-range jumper, but instead he decides to pass it into Thibault. And Thibault's, cutting from the corner into kind of the dunker spot area. And this is going to lead to a rotation. Barrett sinks down, but nobody's going to fill that corner spot. And this leads to an open three. And again, you're seeing quality shots from the Sixers built off of Harden and Embiid's pick and roll game.